All right, Scoop, let's talk about this game a little bit. I think it's fair to say, like, we have learned now through 3 games, this is not necessarily the Clemson that maybe some of the pundits thought that Clemson was going to be. Yes, they did lead the country in returning production, but that returning production is only as good as they are if they do improve and they get better, right? So, Scoop, with all of the pieces that they do have in place, and they have a lot of talent, do you think they have enough to turn it around this season, or are we heading to a sort of mediocre year for the Clemson Tigers this year?
Guys, we've seen this movie before with Dabo, Sweeney, and his team. Literally last year, after they lost some games that they shouldn't have, and they rallied together, somehow found themselves in the ACC championship and got into the playoffs. Now, I think the first 2 teams that Clemson has lost to this season, we're going to look at them at the end of the year and say, wow, those were actually college football playoff teams. Georgia Tech, that play right there, that interception that we just saw, that Klubnik threw right here in the red zone, I mean, that was demoralizing for him. Just an incredible defensive play. He read Klubnik's eyes the whole way. And then for Clemson themselves, man, I think LSU is a problem. We're seeing what they're doing right now against Florida. I've been able to check into the score recently, but it didn't look good the last time that I looked. And Georgia Tech, I mean, they're undefeated. They're a tough, physical team, and they will wear you down. Clemson, each of their losses have all come down essentially to the final play. And they lost a turnover battle today and still lost on 3 points with the time running out. So I think that they have the ability to turn things around.
I can't put my finger on it, Maddie, why this offense doesn't work. Like, they have lost the time possession battle, I think, in the last 3 games that they've played. But why isn't it working? Explain it to me.
Yeah, I know bad football really well, and I'll tell you right now, with Clemson. Now, hey, they've, like Scooby said, they've lost some close football games. Now, the room for error for this team going forward is minimal, right? Yeah. If there's any. And the truth is, offensively, I think my biggest concern is that the offense really doesn't have or seem to have a rhyme or reason or a setup to it. We watch Miami.
No identity.
We watch Georgia Tech. You know, there's plays where you're like, they're setting this up. They're setting up this play action pass. They're trying to get this play going. They're making sure this player gets involved in the action. I don't really see that quite so much from Clemson. Just the rhyme or reason to me, it just seems very sporadic. It kind of like, all right, hey, let's run this play and let's run this play. And hopefully this works. We saw the Bryant Westco touchdown.
Yes,
we're just like, clearly they're explosive, right? Clearly they have talent on the field, right? And Cade Klubnik is a veteran quarterback. But like I said earlier, man, I mean, 1 possession in the 4th quarter, right? So, you know, just bad defense, a lot of talent on the defense side of the football, but not winning in the trenches right now, right? Getting out formation and outmanned way too many times, and it just adds up. And now that you kind of have to question, like, just how does the leadership within the locker room handle this adversity going forward into the year, right? You really got to kind of lean on each other and just say, hey, we can get out of this. The schedule is favorable for them, but still, we're talking like not much of it. I mean, Syracuse, that could be a shootout. We don't know.
Sure.
North Carolina's going to be a better team by October 14th. Boston College is a sneaky opponent for Clemson in the way they've looked.
The Florida State game's going to be tough, too, right? And their identity is the biggest question mark for me, Matt, on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, this is year 3 of Garrett Riley. This is the guy that was coming off a national championship run with TCU, but now here we are. It seems like him and Cade Klubnik aren't on the same page quite yet. And on the defensive side, Dabo ended up firing his defensive coordinator last year to bring Tom Allen in. And right now, they're giving up 338 yards per game on the defensive side of the ball. But one thing is for sure, they have the talent. They have the players. They have the they didn't even bring in that much transfers, but the ones that they did were impactful. When you look at this team on paper, they have everything working for them. They just need to execute at a better level. And because of their first 2 games being some tough opponents, the room for error was this small, and they have continued to turn the ball over. But, hey, we got to give credit to Georgia Tech here. We haven't talked enough about them and what they did.
Yeah,
right?
No doubt.
Agreed. And we are running a little bit short on time, which we normally do on this show. So our props and huge credit to Georgia Tech. Like, they went out and they won this game. Brent Key, like he said in his post-game little hit there, this is nothing new to them. They've done this before, and he's got a quarterback that I think certainly deserves a little bit more attention. I compared them, and I'd like to get your thoughts really quickly on this, to Notre Dame last year a little bit in the way that they used Riley Leonard with Notre Dame. The defense I thought was really good for Georgia Tech and will improve.
Yeah.
But that was a little comp that I thought, at least I noticed.
I think it's really accurate. It really is. And it's a team that really is just feasting on the fact that, like, we're going to be creative offensively. We're going to give our quarterback opportunities in the passing game that are layups like you saw in this football game. We're also going to get our quarterback active in the play calling and just be physical. That's the thing. Georgia Tech was just the more physical football team throughout the game. And then the creativity on top of that and the misdirection stuff, it's just very hard for you to play aggressively if you don't really know where to pinpoint how to attack a team. So that's where Georgia Tech. Now, the question for really Georgia Tech is, like, is it sustainable, right? Haynes King, it's week 3, and Haynes King is already, getting a blood transfusion for how many times he's
He missed last week, so yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Haynes King is literally the toughest quarterback in America.
No doubt.
You watch how he runs the ball every single down. This guy lives, eats, sleeps, and breathes football. If you look at some of the storylines from the offseason, he set up an air mattress in the locker room so he could just wake up and immediately play ball. This is the type of player that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And you get that with the head coach and Brett Key. I mean, this is a tough football team. They're coached really well because we know coaching matters, Matt. And they will play, they will make all the right decisions on the football field. I mean, just look at the drive that they had to take the lead. 13 plays, 90 yards scoring drive that took over 6 minutes of time for them to get up 21-14. I mean, Clemson did what they could do, and they would have those pop plays. But Georgia Tech, they're just a nitty-gritty football team.
Yeah.
And for anyone who just loves the game, it's fun to watch, and you respect it.
And just to kind of, cap this conversation, the truth is, too, and this is kind of hard, right, for me to say this, truth is that Brent Key and his coaching staff outcoached Dabo Sweeney and the crew today. That's really what it comes down to.
Coaching matters.
Coaching matters. They managed the football game better, right? They got their key players in key situations more often than the other team. And now, hey, they had to kick a game-winning field goal with time running out to win the football game. But still, critical situations. I mean, Omar Daniels being in the right place at the right time twice, forcing 2 turnovers against Cade Klubnik. And then Lightsey, man, this kid, linebacker for Georgia Tech, all over the football field, on top of just what we see from the skill group and Haynes King. So Brent Key and the boys really prepared. They were the better.